Hey, shalom everyone, shalom. Something I've been thinking about, I wanted to share, and see if anyone else, had any insight to add or whatnot. And I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of messages and, often they'll say like, I'll post something and someone will be like, I've really been driven to start seeking, I've been driven to start seeking. Or, when I post, things about reading the Bible or whatnot, or whatever I'm reading, the Vedas or the Quran and whatnot, I get people saying, hey, how can I learn to read those things? And I say, well, what do you want to learn to read them for? And they say, because I have to know, and I say, well, you have to know what? What do you want to know? And most of the time people say, I want to know God. I say, okay, well, tell me about him, or her, however you prefer, or it. I say, tell me, what do you know about him? And then immediately, usually what I get is like some description that comes from the Bible, or some description that comes from the Quran, or some description that comes from the Indian scriptures, the Vedas and whatnot. This is what they tell me they know. And I say, well, then you found them, right? You found them. So why are you seeking if, you already have this description, this understanding that you say you have? If you already have it, then what are you looking for? Why is there still an urge to seek? Why do you feel that there is still some emptiness that needs to be filled? If when I ask you about God, you give me an answer. And I'll try to explain what I say. I tell them like this: when you say I'm going to seek something, just in saying that, you are admitting that you do not know. So if I ask you what you are looking for and you say God, and I say, well, tell me about him, you would say, hey, well, I don't know. I think that's a more honest answer, instead of regurgitating something that you've read or some rumor, because really a lot of this is just rumors you've heard, gossip about God. These things, this is what we know about him, a lot of us. So I tried to explain it this way. I said, look, there's this thing that happens with me. Maybe it happens with you often. I used to lose my keys a lot. Now I have a specific place for everything so that I don't lose things or misplace things. And I say, well, I used to lose my keys a lot. And the same thing would happen every time I look for them. So first of all, when I lose my keys, the first thing I do is I say, I left them here, I know I left them here, right? I know I left them in my backpack, or I know I left them right here on the table, right? And so I'll spend all this time right in that vicinity, wherever my backpack was. I'll spend so much time looking through that small little area, or wherever that desk is. I'll spend time looking around the desk. Maybe it fell behind the desk. Maybe it fell into the little crack. Maybe someone put it in the drawer that's connected to the desk or whatnot. And I'll just keep repeating it, and repeating it over and over and over again. 5, 10, 15 minutes of just in this little small space. Well, finally what takes place is that you get really sick of looking in the same 2 or 3 or 4 little places in this small vicinity, and you're not finding the keys. So what happens is I abandon that knowledge. I know I left them here. I know I left them in this bag. I abandon that. And I start to embrace a wonderful thing. I start to say, the keys can be anywhere, because they're not where I quote unquote left them, or they're not where I knew they were. Therefore, the keys can be anywhere. That's when I start to backtrack. I start to trace my steps. I start to look in all possible places, wherever keys can be. I start looking in all the possibilities, all of these possibilities, and the whole room, the whole house opens up And, even like outside, they could be on the path I was walking. They could be back at the car. They could be in between the seats. Now all these possibilities have opened up. I was at the bank today. I was at the store today. Now they could be anywhere, right? I could have just dropped them somewhere. And all of these possibilities opened up. It's not until I abandon the headache of looking for them in this small place that I say, you know what? I don't know where they are. They could be anywhere. That I seem to quickly find them after that. I seem to quickly find my keys once I abandon what I think I knew about where they were and open myself up to all the possibilities, which is I don't know where they are. So all these possibilities open up. Once I open up all these possibilities, voila, there goes my keys. Bong, bong. And I say this is similar to how we need to be when we're seeking God. See, we are so invested in our deceptions. We're so invested in error. And it's not until we abandon these notions, it's not until we abandon what we think we know through hearsay, right? Until we let that go, we cannot see things as they are, because we know that God sits on a throne, has a white beard, that he's black or he's white or he's yellow. I'm black, so we know that God's black, right? But it's not until we abandon these anthropomorphic characteristics, until we abandon everything we think we know and say, look, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who God is. I don't know what God is. I have some ideas that were given to me that I've read. I have some ideas from some experiences in my life, but who knows how much of that was influenced by my imagination, which a lot of people's spiritual, the imagination is very strong. A lot of people's spiritual experiences are based off of an overactive imagination. Just think about it for a second. Just think about it. It's similar to the way you dream. If you just take note of the things you see, read, watch, smell before you fall into the dream state. If you just take note of them, you'll see how they just come popping back up into your dreams. And you start saying, whoa, it was God talking to me, when really it was just you left the TV on, right? Or you saw a billboard out of your window before you fell asleep, or a squirrel. I have trees outside my window. We don't know, we don't understand how much of what we understand of the spiritual world is shaped by an overactive imagination. We have to abandon this. We have to abandon these hallucinations. We have to stop being so invested in our deceptions. We have to come to the point where we say, I don't know. You give me an answer for God, I have to test it. Not because I distrust you. I don't do anything because I distrust people. I do not do anything based off of contrariness or just to be suspicious of people. But I have to check it. I have to check it for myself, right? Because it is about experiences. So I want you to think about that. Think about that for some of the people who have messaged me in this way about seeking and desire to learn. I can't teach you how to find God. I can't do that. No one can do that for you. No one can teach you how to find him. No one can teach you how to realize him or to be aware of his existence or its existence. No one can teach you that. I can teach you how I learned to read the Bible. I can teach you how I learned to interpret the sayings, but I can't interpret them for you. Right? I could teach you fact-based things. Because there is fact and non-fact. I won't even call it fiction. Right? These things can be taught. Tools like language, reading comprehension, critical thinking. These things can be developed with a good teacher. But no one can teach you how to realize the thing that is inherent in you. Right? But it is when we start to say, look, I don't know. Everything I learned was from a book, or because my parents took me to church, or because I saw something on a documentary that really made sense to me. Until we start saying, look, that's not good enough. That in truth, I don't know. As soon as you abandon it, abandon your hangups, your hallucinations, your deceptions, until you stop being invested in these hallucinations and these deceptions. Once you stop being invested in them, then the answer can appear. So they say, it took me years they say to get the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. Oh, it took me years to realize Samadhi, yoga. Right? In actuality, it can all just happen in one moment. The moment you tear the wall down, the waters come flooding in. So it's not about attaining something. It's about tearing down these deceptions, these hallucinations, these imaginations. It's about tearing these things down. So we've got to come to a point where we say, I don't know where my keys are. They can be anywhere. We have to start saying, I don't know where God is. He can be anywhere. He can be anything. I don't know. Then you start seeing things how they are, without your imaginations and your hallucinations invested. And then there's no exaggeration, right? And then there's no bias. Then things just are as they are. And if you're as I believe, from my experience, that he is in and of everything in existence, then when you truly start to see things as they are, the thing begins to reveal itself to you. And this is something that's a law. There's a mental law, meaning that if a person can learn to concentrate, we can say meditate, concentrate. If a person can learn to concentrate on anything, single thing, anything a person concentrates his mind on, the nature of the thing reveals itself. The nature of the thing will reveal itself. And we've watched it. We've watched musicians do this, right? We've watched sports players do this, artists do this, that because they've concentrated so hard on one task, they've been devoted so deeply on one thing that all of the mechanics and all of the intricate details of that thing just start to reveal themselves. So if you're going to seek, first abandon everything you thought you knew. Leave it behind. Admit that you don't know, because a seeker is the definition of someone who is seeking something means they don't have it. So if you will seek, first say, I don't know. And if a person wants it enough, if it's urgent enough, then he will take the necessary steps. The thing about a person who says, I don't know, and then seeks with his whole heart is the steps, the next steps start to reveal themselves to them. The next steps on the path start to reveal themselves. But if you say it's only this, my keys can only be on this desk. It can only be in this Bible. It can only be in this Quran. It can only be in the Vedas, right? In the Mahabharata. It can only be there. Then you've limited it. You've limited not only God, but you've limited your ability to expand your consciousness. You can't expand it. You can't expand your consciousness. See, what people don't understand is that the same God that inspired the words of the various scriptures throughout the world through Hasidim. And when I say Hasidim, I mean pious ones. And I don't care what religion they're from, right? The various pious ones who have risen up throughout the world, the same one who inspired the words that came out of their writings and the words that came out of their mouth, inspired you and gave you the breath that's in your body. Don't limit him. He's everywhere. The same word that helped the prophets' scrolls be written is the same word that manifested these trees outside my window. That's amazing. That's amazing. But we think about it. It's not here. It's not really fully realized within you that that is the truth. So it's just something to think about, something I've been thinking about as I keep getting these questions like, how can, I want to seek, I want to get deeper into it. Where do I start? Well, the first thing we have to do is abandon what you think you know. Because most people come to get reassurance that they're on the right track. No, I'm not here to reassure you. If you say God is this thing, I say amen. If you say God is that thing, I say amen. It is what it is to you. Everyone's got their own nonsense, their altar of nonsense, right? No disrespect. If a person says, I believe God is this, and then the next person comes up, the Hebrew will say, I believe God's name is Yod He Vav He. And the Muslim brother comes up and says, no, his name's Allah. And then my Vedas brothers, depending on which million different groups you say, his name's Shiva, his name's Vishnu, his name's Idris or Indra. All these different names. Right? You limit yourself when we do this. We limit ourselves. Say, I don't know. And when you start to say, I don't know, then that burning within you can take place, that I need to find out. I need to find out. So many people are so convinced in their ignorance. It's amazing. But there's a beautiful journey that begins when a person says, I don't know. So if you're going to seek, abandon what you think you know. Free yourself from the investment in your deceptions, your hallucinations, your imaginations. Free yourself from your investment. You're so invested in it. And if you can break that, then it can happen in an instant. Because one thing is that God is outside of time. It doesn't take time to realize something that's already within you. It takes time to break down the barriers that you yourself have built up over a long time period. Right? Deceptions that we've accepted, hallucinations that we've accepted from others, imaginations that we've accepted from others. This is why I speak about reading too much so often. You don't want to be so well read on one paradigm, because you have to accept not only the good, but all of the other things that come with it. Why is the Hebrew Bible written in the way it is? Because those people were agricultural. There's a lot of agricultural symbolism in it, right? Make sense? But you want to know for yourself. I get it. And I do believe these are righteous people. I do believe these are Hasidim. But I have to know for myself. And for me to know for myself, I have to make my own journey. That's just something to think about. Say, I don't know where my keys are. They can be anywhere. I don't know who God is. He could be anything. He could be anywhere. So that burning desire to know is lit within you, so that the path can start unfolding before you. It can happen in an instant, but we have to break down the barriers that we've built up, these imaginary walls we've built up, this Truman Show. If you're a fan of Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler, big fans. But this Truman Show we're living in, you have to get off the sound stage. So just something to think about. Shalom, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. I guess it's 4th of July for some people. It is just Thursday, where I don't have to work for me. But if you are celebrating 4th of July, be safe, man. Don't cook your food on no aluminum. Don't shoot your gun up in the air, because bullets that go up have to come down somewhere. Y'all be safe out there. $1.8 billion is being spent on alcohol today. So take it easy out there. A lot of y'all got to go back to work tomorrow. You know what I mean? So just take it easy out there. Shalom and love, everyone.